And welcome back to 5 Talk Street. I'm Mark Hayes. NBC 5 is committed to education, especially STEM, education, science, technology, engineering, and math. Earlier this week, 5 Talk Street's Scott Murray spoke to the editor of U.S. News and World Report about an important conference. Let's take a look.
Well, joining me right now on the phone to tell us all about the national conference is Brian Kelly. He is the editor and chief content officer for U.S. News and World Report. And my subscription is still going strong, even all the way back to my collegiate years, Brian, so I'm sure that's good news to you, right?
Well, we're happy. We have a lot of loyal readers. We're more digital than anything these days, but we're still producing, hopefully, a lot of useful information for people.
Well, I think you certainly have done that for decades. You know, you talk about way back in the old days, or the good old days, as they say. I'm in that baby boomer generation, and I think back to 30 or 40 years ago when I was in school, and how sad it is now that it's not nearly what it was. I remember we talked about whether it was literature or reading skills or math or science. We were #1 straight across the board around the world. And now, as I recall, and I think you and I shared these thoughts last year, when it comes to math, we're about 15th. Science is 25th, or maybe just the other way around. Science 15th, math 25th. What has happened?
Well, we have slipped. I mean, we have slid in some ways, and the rest of the world has really woken up. I mean, if you look at China, South Korea, India, a number of other parts of the world, Europe, they are putting a tremendous emphasis on teaching, and particularly teaching science and technology. And as a consequence, we are getting into a real competitive disadvantage with these countries when it comes to jobs and innovating in business.
You talk about science and technology. We hear a lot, certainly here in the state of Texas, about STEM and the STEM programs. I did a program not so long ago with the Boys and Girls Club, and that's all they wanted to talk about. It's no longer recreation, after-school programs. It's STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And you certainly have taken that, the bull by the horn, so to speak, and really gone forward with that concept.
You know, it's really important. You hear, as you say, Scott, more people are starting to get it, no question. But my feeling is enough people aren't getting it. Parents and students have to get the message how important these subjects are. You've got to learn your math. You've got to have the basis. You know, you can have some fun like the Boy Scouts do and other organizations. You know, make robots, make rockets. But the future is going to be about technology. And if you don't have a grounded basis in that, you're going to be in trouble.
When you talk about the program, we recall last year you kicked this off with U.S. News and World Report. You were in Dallas, Texas, and now this year you head down to the state capital here in Texas. You'll be down in Austin.
Yeah, we like Texas. Texas is you know, besides being a great place to have a conference, it's a national conference, so we're bringing people from all around the country. People in Texas, we find the companies in particular, and some in the education space, they get this issue. They understand the importance of it. You know, it's no surprise that Texas has a very low unemployment rate. You're creating a lot of jobs down there, and many of those jobs require a base in technology. So, you know, we think it's a very appropriate place to have this leadership meeting for all the parts of the STEM community, educators, employers, people who work in the nonprofit world. We do want to learn some things from Texas, but it's also a great opportunity for all these different groups to get together and share the best practices.
This time last year when we spoke with you, you had not as yet had your conference, certainly well planned and what have you, and you knew the expectations, but I just wondered, now coming out with one under your belt, did you learn anything from last year as you now get ready to look forward to Austin and your second chance?
Well, we learned there's a lot of people interested in this issue. We had about 1,600 people there in Dallas at the Sheraton and had a great experience. I think one of the things that was really powerful was the educators talking to the employers, because I think, you know, that we look at this issue as a jobs issue. Education's critical, but it's education for what purpose? And many of the educators said to me, you know, we don't get a chance to talk to the people who are doing the hiring very often. And it's very valuable for us to understand, what are they looking for? How might that affect how we're teaching, how we shape our courses? So we definitely see that's something we're building on. We're expecting a couple thousand people down in Austin. You know, I think part of it is we want to both, you know, let everybody also have some fun, network, find some other folks who are doing this similar kind of work in different parts of the country. And that's a really valuable part of this, too. It's almost like STEM is an industry across the country, and it needs a conference. It needs a convention.
So let's look ahead maybe a month from now. June 17th through the 19th is when you'll be in Austin. But your theme this year is Teach, Inspire, and Hire. So when all is said and done and it's suddenly the 20th of June and you look behind you as you head back to the nation's capital in your home, I just wondered what you hope to have accomplished and achieved.
Well, those are the key points. I don't know that we're going to succeed in solving every single one of those all at once, but I think if we can bring in the educators and help open their eyes to the realities of the world of work out there, you know, the inspiration part of it is really important. Making science cool, making math cool. We've got some Hollywood stars that are going to be there. We've got some astronauts. We've got a lot of things that are very visual. And then the higher part, you know, most important thing. There are companies that are going to be there. The CEOs of some of the major companies, Texas Instruments, AT&T, Siemens, across the country, that have tens of thousands of jobs that they're trying to fill. So if we can find a way to help connect all those dots and make people aware of the needs here, I think we'll have accomplished something important.
Brian Kelly, Editor, Chief Content Officer for U.S. News and World Report. We welcome you to the great state of Texas on the 17th of June. In the meantime, good luck down in Austin.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Scott.
All right. Thank you much.
All right. Thanks, Scott. Hey, don't go away. We'll be right back with more of 5 Talk Street.